We are getting back on our on-time schedule. All right. All right, Kathy Lantry's in the house. I better start. I'll call the St. Paul City Council to order. Roll call.
Naker. Here. Prince.
Here.
Tao.
Here.
Tolbert.
Here.
Yang.
Here.
Jalali.
Here.
Council President Brenmoen.
Here.
7 present, no one absent.
Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Consent agenda items 4 through 10 are before you for your consideration.
We are taking item 7 for separate consideration. Is there anything else on consent that we should look at separately? All right, seeing nothing, Ms. Prince moves the balance of the consent agenda. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion prevails.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The consent agenda is adopted as amended. Item 7 is Resolution 22-278, authorizing the conveyance of 6 city-owned properties to the St. Paul Public School District.
Ms. Naker.
Thanks, Council President. I just wanted to pull this item off because I serve on the board of one of the schools that is being covered in this item, and I just wanted to share that for the sake of transparency. I did check with the City Attorney's Office to make sure that I didn't need to recuse myself on this item and no conflict exists, but I just wanted to state that for the record.
Right.
And I move approval.
All right, Ms. Naker moves approval. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion prevails.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The resolution is adopted. Item 11 is Resolution 22-245, authorizing the city to transfer $4,500,000 of the American Rescue Plan funds to a specific account for PED tourism package.
Right, and on this item, we laid it over last week just for some finalizing that was required on the details of this package. And we have Ms. Goodman here to fill us in, and it will be for our vote today. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. This is my first time to be standing here. I think I can hear all of you, but it's interesting to be here in chambers.
Welcome.
Thank you. Okay, good afternoon, Council President Brenmoen and council members. As you know, tourism is a fundamental driver of our local economy and has been one of the industries most profoundly impacted by COVID-19. Data from Visit St. Paul indicates that the immediate St. Paul area has lost more than $1 billion in sales and more than $70 million in tax revenues due to COVID-19 impacts on the tourism industry. Can you hear me? The item for your consideration today is an allocation of $4.5 million in American Rescue Plan Act funds for a tourism recovery support program. Eligible applicants for this program will be organizations and businesses who are able to demonstrate that their normal pre-pandemic operations have a significant impact on tourism in St. Paul. We will have program guidelines posted on our website next week, with a fairly short turnaround for applications due to the urgent nature of boosting the tourism industry as we move into spring. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have at this time.
Are there any questions for Ms. Goodman? Ms. Naker.
I actually don't have any questions, Council President. Just wanted to make a comment. But thank you so much, Director Goodman, for your hard work on this. I know it was extremely quick and also really thoughtful work to get this out the door. And also want to thank City Attorney Adam Niblick for his help. I think it's really exciting to be able to move these dollars to institutions that really need it, especially as we're entering into our busy tourist season. And again, I just appreciate the hard work to make this happen very promptly.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to take that as a motion from Ms. Naker. Any other discussion? Ms. Jalali.
Thank you. I'm also appreciative of this and agree with its mission and spirit. My question was just in terms of what's next. So would it be that we approve these funds for this purpose and then it creates a fund that organizations can apply to with guidelines, or can you share more about what happens after we approve it?
Absolutely. Thank you, Councilmember Jolly. Council President Brenmoen. We will put up, I think we're planning to use Zoom Grants is the platform that we use in PED typically. So my team now is putting together sort of a quick intake on Zoom Grants. The applications will come in, again, it'll likely be next week, maybe a 10-day turnaround time, and then we will have those applications and we'll be able to evaluate them. Staff will evaluate the applications, and then that will be the next step.
And as a follow-up, is the intention to help impacted organizations who have experienced just normal revenue loss as a result of the pandemic, or to help them like prepare to have tourism events this spring, or is it both? Just so that I can understand.
It is industries, organizations, and businesses who existed and were impacted, who were in the tourism, who had an impact on tourism in St. Paul prior to the pandemic, and it would be for them to continue to do their work or to recover from the impacts of COVID.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted some parameters for that. I really appreciate it. Thanks.
Certainly.
I think if you check in your inbox, the guidelines were sent to us not long ago to just today, and I think we're really trying to zoom in on businesses and organizations that were basically missed by some of the other federal pots of money. A big organization that maybe didn't have an auditorium in it wouldn't have gotten the shuttered or I guess I don't know the name of the program, but the one that was for buildings with auditoriums. But examples like that where they fell through all the other cracks, and this is recognizing that they're still worthy of that investment.
That's correct.
Mr. Tolbert?
And just to clarify, so businesses know, when this opens up, there'll be a window where it closes, and then allocations will happen after that. Could you clarify that?
That's correct. There will be a window that opens, closes, and the valuation will happen after that.
Okay, so just if you can make sure that when the program's ready and live, so that we can get it out to all the businesses that might want and nonprofits that might want to apply. But I'll say, first of all, thank you for putting this together so quickly. I think it's a really good use of ARP dollars, specifically focused on businesses through no fault of their own, either because of restrictions or because of hesitancy and people needing to distance because of the COVID. We need to help these businesses out. They add a huge part of vibrancy to the city of St. Paul. So I'm supportive of this. I know it goes both for for-profit businesses and nonprofits, and let's make sure we get the application wide out, because I suspect there's businesses that we've heard of that need help. I've heard from quite a few, but there's also ones that we probably haven't heard from yet that also are struggling. So thank you for putting this together.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councilmember Tolbert.
Ms. Yang?
Thank you. I am also supportive of the tourism package here, and I also want to share that I feel we as council members have a really huge role to play alongside you all too in reaching out to organizations and businesses about this, and I'm committed to doing that. I am wondering, do you have an idea of what like a follow-up would be for the organizations that do receive funding? Are we going to follow up to see like how exactly they use the funding later on, or what does that accountability look like later on?
Yep. Thank you, Council President, Council Member. In the guidelines that you received earlier, you will see that I couldn't completely hear your question, but the application will include the requirement to provide data on how the business impacts tourism, how the business was impacted by COVID, how the aid will assist in the recovery of the business or the organization from the impacts of COVID, and allow them then to continue to impact the tourism industry in St. Paul. Was that the answer to your question, Councilmember?
Kind of. So will we have staff who follow up to make sure that like the money is used for that then? Like, for example, at the end of the year?
Certainly, yes. We're required to, the part of the application will be that the organization is required to track that data, and we are required to, as part of the ARP funding, to have that tracking. So that's a mechanism of the actual funding source.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
And this certainly doesn't preclude the administration or the council from advocating for more dollars to be dedicated to our businesses. This is a particular package aimed at this tourism bucket. Mr. Tao.
Thank you, Council President. I'm very in support of this tourism package. The tourism industry was impacted negatively by COVID all over the country. Disneyland, all over, and especially in St. Paul here. And so this is, and I also like how the Department PD and the administration and the City Council and our office and everybody coming together to really look through this and making sure that we are providing support for everybody with the ARP dollar. And this is a great start for us to work towards helping more of using the ARP dollar. So Thank you for your staff and for everybody that's in support of this.
Thank you, Councilmember.
So there is a motion from Ms. Jalali. Any other discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion prevails.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The resolution is adopted.
Thank you.
Mr. Tao moves suspension of the rules. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion prevails. This item actually is a video, not a typical suspension item. What? Never seen anything quite like this.
Highly unusual.
Our lawyer is worried.
And I have the awesome job of being the director of our Department of Parks and Recreation.
Director Hom, this is your friend and colleague, Mayor Melvin Carter, here to congratulate you on your retirement and the incredible work you've engaged in service to our city for a whole lifetime. Over the years, you've worked to build our St. Paul Parks and Recreation Department into an award-winning system, annually ranked top 2 in the nation by the Trust for Public Land.
Our community, the City of St. Paul, was recognized last week by the Trust for Public Land as the #1 parks system in all of the United States. So how about that?
You've been a champion for expanding free youth programming in our recreation centers, outdoor programming for St. Paul's BIPOC community, and mobile recreation offerings. You strengthened our strategic partnerships throughout your tenure and helped to build an incredible team at every level of the department, from recreation staff, city foresters, zoo staff, and beyond. From your work on the Frogtown, Palace, and Arlington Hills community centers to CHS Field, Midway Peace Park, and of course the Como Park Zoo and Conservatory, your leadership has been instrumental in raising our city's profile and making it a better place to live.
Our community takes great pride in our Parks and Recreation system, and our staff, a lot of our staff that are joining us here today, take pride in the work we do to bring these services to the community. But we cannot continue to be a great Parks and Recreation system unless we continue to evolve and continue to listen to the community and bring services that the community expects to grow the system. Great Parks and Recreation systems also cannot continue to be great without champions for progress and champions for equity in our work.
We've been so fortunate to have a lifelong St. Paulite, a lifelong rec center user, serve our city all these years. The body of work you've championed has made a positive impact on our city. Thanks to your leadership, there is no doubt in my mind that we're in a stronger position to continue the great work that our community expects. We're very proud and appreciative of all you've done, and we wish you well in retirement.
Mr. Hahn, we'd like to invite you up to the dais. Yeah.
Resolution 22-312, recognizing Mike Hom's career with the City of St. Paul and congratulating him on his retirement.
Mr. Director Hom, I get the privilege of being able to read this. It's